My name is Adrian Nantchev, and this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So that's why I started this podcast, to bring you people from all over the world, whether entrepreneurs or not, to share with you their story, their journey, who they are, and what they're doing, but most importantly, why. Today I have with me Brandi Spencer, all the way from the States. So please, Brandi, tell the world, who are you, what's your story, and why are you doing what you're currently doing?
Hello, everybody out there. My name is Brandi Spencer. I am a trainer, an educator, a teacher, and I own a company called Consider the Possibilities. And it is a digital marketing and web design company. And we strive to help small business owners really understand and leverage online marketing strategies so that they can make more money, bottom line. And I started because I've seen so many super talented people who have been successful in their careers working for other people. And I really wanted to give them the tools and the confidence to be able to do the same things with their own business.
Yeah, so tell me about Consider the Possibilities. Why did you start it?
I started the company, first of all, because I was working in corporate America and I really wanted to step into a career that really spoke to me and allowed me to be myself. I felt like I had reached a point in my career where I had to kind of dumb myself down or turn it down a notch every day at work. And I really wanted to start living out loud. And so in my former life, I was an engineer. So I love problem solving and a lot of the techie stuff that other people shy away from. And so I believe that my company is like the best of both worlds. I get to talk to people who are amazing, and then I get to walk them through how to create a business that makes sense for their life and their lifestyle.
Interesting, from a corporate background. So could you guide me through the thought process and what the story or the series of events were where you thought, this isn't for me and I want to start something else? What happened?
Well, first of all, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. And so there has never been a time where I have been 100% super excited about working for anybody else. And so throughout my career, I've always had side businesses or side hustles, I guess you could call. And so I knew that at some point, I wanted to really focus on turning one of these side businesses into something that could sustain me and my family. And so I was working as an engineer offshore, and from the outside looking in, it was an amazing job. It was a good job. And, my family and friends were like, ooh, I can't believe you're doing what you're doing. I was hopping on a helicopter and flying out into the Gulf of Mexico. And I was helping to set up oil wells. Can you imagine that? Me, pretty little thing, setting up oil wells, right? The money was awesome, but that is not what I wanted to do. And so a lot of times you really don't realize what you don't want to do until you are in the thick of it. And so that's one thing that I realized I did not want to do. And so I think because I'm really in tune with what I love and don't love and like and don't like, that has really served me well as an entrepreneur. And so for the people who are listening, that is so important. For a lot of us, we're great at a lot of things, right? There's a lot of multi-passionate, multi-talented entrepreneurs out there. But at some point, you have to think about what you enjoy doing, not necessarily what you're good at, right? And so I was offshore. I did that for about 3 years. I hated it. So then I decided no more. I became a teacher. I loved it. I love working with kids and educating. And I did that for a while. And then I got a promotion. And so I started working with the adults. Dun, dun, dun. And that's where I was like, working with kids is a different set of skills in a lot of cases than working with adults. But I did have a lot of opportunity to gain skills that I'm now able to use in my business. And so as a teacher, I learned how to break down really complex topics and break them down into bite-sized pieces that people can understand. And I understand how to not bore them to death. That's important, right? And then when I got a promotion, I began to coach teachers about how to improve what they were already doing. And so now when I see an entrepreneur come to me with their business plan or with their idea, I can help ask them questions and really talk them through and coach them through the process a lot easier because I've had that background. So from all these experiences, they weren't necessarily the best in the world, but I have been able to take from each one and really build a business that fits me and my lifestyle. And so for those of you who are listening out there, think about the skills that you've learned at all these other careers that you've been in and pull them and learn how to use them for your benefit in your life as an entrepreneur. That's really one of the things that set me apart and really helped me build a strong foundation.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff, a lot of experiences from the past can be salvaged or reverse engineered in some way so as to be utilized for the present time, for the present day.
Absolutely.
You made an interesting quote there where it's when you're in the thick of it, then you start to realize what you do and don't want to do in life. The similar quote I have is in life, you can do whatever you want, but as long as there's two things, happy and competent at it. Whatever you want, teaching, engineering, marketing, happy and competent, that's it. If you're not happy, then it's like an emotional burden, it's stress. If
Absolutely.
you're not competent, then you're wasting your time. Although I'm just curious, quickly, what subject were you teaching to the children?
Math.
Math. Oh, yeah. Oh, very good.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And so, let's be real. There are not a lot of brown engineers out there. And so I was able to take my love and my experience for engineering and help other students understand that, hey, there might not be a lot of Black or Latino engineers out there, but we are out there. And if you really focus and study, that there's so many options available to you. So once again, using your past career to set yourself apart really made me marketable because I was selling myself as, I love engineering and I want to help kids get a passion for math and science as well. So, you're constantly selling yourself, but being able to pull from your past experiences when you're talking to people kind of on the spot is really something else that served me well.
What were some of their reactions when you told them you went out in helicopters on the oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico? What were some of their reactions?
Some of the kids didn't believe it. I had to whip out my phone and show them pictures. Some people were like, wow, I've never met an engineer before or anything like that. So it's really just about exposing people to new things. I think sometimes people just speak from their sphere of influence or where they have been. And so it's so important that children are exposed to new things, but also entrepreneurs are exposed to new things as well.
Yeah, the way I see it is be a jack of all trades, but master of one. Know a little bit about everything, every subject, conversational, then bring it all together, and it's very rounded, very, very versatile, able to talk about loads of stuff. And speaking of which, I'm very curious then, please tell me about your business then, consider the possibilities.
Sure. So it's been about 3.5 years since I've started the company. It has grown and it's morphed itself as well. Before, I think I was more business to consumer, working a lot with 0 to 1 year startups, primarily women. But over the last year, I'll say, I've started to have more of a small business or corporate face so that I can work with more established businesses, of course, who have like an established revenue stream as well. That's the company. So like I said before, we do things like focusing on website design, but as well as really educating our clients about the power of social media. It's not just something to sling up your ads. It's really a place for you to cultivate and nurture relationships with a really targeted group of people if you do it right. And so really educating people about the process, educating them about their website, educating them about why you should be creating content, and doing that in a lot of different ways. We, from time to time, do things like webinars, mastermind classes, but like I said, also we do more one-on-one and consulting work with corporate companies as well. So we've grown, we're still changing, and for me, I like to really feel comfortable changing things as I go, because for me, I want my business to meet the needs of the people that I serve, right? So if I find that there's some new trend or something that the people who I really want to serve need, then me as a business owner, I'm going to shift and, adjust to those things as well.
Yeah, so what's your thoughts on social media then? What do people get wrong about it?
I think that people take the social out of social media. A lot of people, I love automation. I love the fact that you can plan 30 days worth of content and schedule it. But I think for a lot of people, you're missing some really great opportunities when things happen in the world. Like here in the United States, politics is a hot topic. So if you are not adjusting and leaving room in your social media strategy for real world events, emerging trends, things that someone said on TV last week that your customers love, then you're really missing the mark. So conversations are something that people are really missing on social media. They think that you post an offer and your PayPal is going to start ding, ding, dinging immediately. And in a lot of cases, it just does not happen that way. Yes, you may make an initial contact with someone who's interested in your product or service through social media, but a lot of times that is the beginning of the conversation. And so if you're not taking that conversation offline, or at least massaging that conversation, then you're probably missing the mark and leaving a lot of money on the table. So those are the biggest things that I see.
Yes, loads of things there. Newsjacking. I did a podcast a few months ago, or a few weeks ago, with another person, and they have this newsjacking department. Mm-hmm. But what they do is they do preemptive newsjacking. So they'll get loads and loads of different sources and different articles and people and contacts, mm-hmm. and then in time, when that specific subject is trending, then they'll deploy it. Because it's very, I always imagine it'd be very it'd be a leading indicator, like telling us what's happening, as opposed to a lagging indicator, what's happened. And then that way, as soon as it's happened, they just spew it out there. So very interesting newsjacking strategy, which I never thought about there. And funny you should say also conversations as well, because I'm in the middle of writing a book, publishing actually a book. It's going to be out 23rd of November about mm-hmm. content and inbound marketing. And one of the things in that I say is the more conversations you have with your customers, the better.
Absolutely.
Please, could you elaborate, please?
Absolutely. Sometimes the conversations can start off so basic and so, simple, like, hey, how was your day? Or that was a great post, beautiful picture, just a genuine conversation, like, did you follow up on that goal you had last week? I have really been able to build relationships online and build a strong but mighty community of people who really tune into what I say. And for a lot of people starting out in business, you feel like you're talking to crickets, right? There's nobody out there listening. But if you start having conversations with the people who are interacting with your content, you'll be light years ahead of the rest. I did a random just quote the other day, and I asked, what is something that you need to let go in 2017 so that you can advance yourself in 2018? And this one young lady inboxed me and she said, I really started thinking about that, and I appreciate that you even asked that question. So basic conversations that you can have, very simple human things that you can do, can spark a conversation in people. It can spark a transformation in people, but it can also move you and that person even closer to the point where they're ready to buy from you, to work with you, or refer you to somebody else. So conversations are invaluable. For a lot of people, their business is not successful right now, and they're not hitting their income goals because there's not enough eyeballs on your products and services, right? Social media, there are like a kabillion eyeballs out there, right? So if you start having conversations with people and finding out what they need and finding out what they want, what you can do with that information is then you can go and create products and services that solve those problems And then you go back to that same person and you say, hey, I got a solution for you, right? So if you aren't talking to them and interacting, how do you know what they want, right? So it's like a big hole that's missing there. You really can't understand your ideal customer if you're not talking to them or if you're not listening to them. So like that's another major issue or point that I work with people on.
Yeah, the more you understand your audience from a demographics, a sociographic, everything, not from a fictitious way, but also from a breakdown and questionnaire, the better.
Absolutely.
The more you know about them, the more problems you can solve, 100 plus ideally, and therefore they're the basis of different conversations here and there and everywhere, and different things that they will be searching for online. So you're going to meet them halfway on Google and Bing and YouTube and all the rest. Just meet them halfway. They're searching for something like how to drive a car, and if you're a driving instructor and you're not putting content out there saying how to drive a car, step 1, step 2, step 3, and all the rest, then they're not going to find you. It's like hands in the dark. You know, how do I drive a car? And if you're not there on the other side,
exactly,
you're missing out. You're missing out.
Exactly.
And going back a little bit, your comment about PayPal, where it's not just putting an offer out there and then money just comes to you. It's a real shame business isn't like that, and real marketing isn't as simple as
isn't
that.
It?
Yeah, I've often thought about this. It's just people think, oh, I heard it for a week or 2 or a month, and it's like, where is it? And it's like, oh, if it were only that easy, if only.
Exactly.
But the way I see it, however, is that level of persistence that's needed is a way of separating the wheat from the chaff, the sheep from the goat, so to speak. Where
the men from the boys, Adrian. Absolutely.
Separating those that are not truly deserving of the attention or respect or subscribers or followers or conversations, simply because the marketplace, you haven't given the marketplace enough value or attention or justification to get what you want.
Absolutely. Give, right? Value is so important. And I think a lot of times we rush to the sale, and I have really had to evaluate that. And over the last couple of months, I've been looking at my follow-up sequences and things like that, and really asking myself hard questions like, is this enough value? Like, I'm giving this to this person for free, but do they feel like I have just given them a paid product? And that's the level of value that you should be giving people, right? They should receive a freebie from you or a checklist or a piece of content. And when they leave you, they should be like, that was amazing. Like, I ought to send her something in her PayPal because that was so freaking awesome, right? And if you're not doing that, then, maybe you need to pull some content from other places, but that value piece, it kind of greases the wheel in a way. You give content away, and it allows you to position yourself as an expert. It allows people to see if you're full of it, right? It allows people to see if they want to hear your voice. I've tuned into some people's live stream, and I thought, her voice is so annoying that I could not stand 20 minutes of this, right? So people are checking you out in all types of different ways. They're evaluating what you look like, your content, the way you speak to them, whether your morals and your framework, I guess, mesh with theirs. But like I said, if you aren't putting out this content, why would they come to you? There's a million other people out there who are allowing people to sample them. Why would I just by blind faith work with you when I can try out some other people and know for sure that they know what they're talking about, right? Or that their content is going to provide some type of value or result for me.
Yeah, we are competing with everyone online, everyone and everything, institutions, media, people, celebrities, influencers. We're competing for eyeballs everywhere. And that's how I think, as a side note to that, people talk about the supply of content online has gone exponential over the past 2 years, but the demand has been quite static. But I think the way to hack that demand, quote unquote, is if they discover you and they love what you do, then they will defy the market and purposely look for and be excited for your content. So it's like just through supply and just increasing supply, you can proportionately increase demand. People become or on the edge of their seats, anticipating your next piece of content or your next conversation or next something. And as soon as they see it, notification, email, or newsfeed or whatever, they consume it straight away, depending on their loyalty and a few other things. That's why, as a side note, also, I think SEO is dying and social media is killing it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that you are a certain type of person is going to be drawn to you because, I mean, naturally, there's a certain way that I like to deliver my content. Apparently, you like video and audio, right? You're going to be attracting other podcast listeners, other video watchers. And so also the form and shape of your content is going to attract a certain type of person. So that's very important too. And that goes also back to understanding who you want to target and what their needs are. I always give the example. If my target market is busy moms on the go, then I don't want to create 3-hour-long podcasts or videos. I want to create short, bite-sized pieces of content that are portable, right? She needs to be able to listen to it on her iPhone or on her Android. She needs to be able to use her iPhone to watch the videos, and it should be something that she can consume maybe while her kid's at a soccer game or something. So you're going to be able to shape and mold your content based on the people that you're serving, and you're going to attract more of those people based on the way you've shaped your content.
Yeah, I agree. But my only caveat with that, it depends on the audience as well, is as long-form content is really good for building a relationship with people. And also, it's good for things like the YouTube algorithm. The YouTube algorithm likes content that's 8 minutes long, or at least, plus. And I also think that the longer your content is, the more likely they are to consume more content because they've got used to you, they're familiar with you, they know, like, and trust you. That old common phrase, the old saying. So the more they watch, the more likely they are to watch more of it. So it's a success beget success as opposed to feedback loop. And there, as a side note, that's where I think there's a massive prerogative as a business owner just to go on scale, en masse, one content every day. But then again, ask yourself, if one a day, well, that's very nice. Or why not 2 a day? Oh, 2 a day, that's very cute. Why not 3 a day? Why not 3 a day? 4 a day.
Right.
Why not? You're only going to benefit in theory.
So I think a couple of things. I agree with you. I think that there is a range, and of course there is a number count that the algorithms love. Absolutely. I think that you can also combat that in a couple of different ways, right? You're going to have some people who love video. So in addition to your video, you could have some real keyword-rich session or video notes to kind of counteract that and counterbalance it. I think that, an 8-minute video versus an hour-long video, that's 2 different things also. But like I said, I agree. It's going to be a balance of the two. And that's another reason why I think live streaming is so powerful right now. All the algorithms love it. On Instagram, people are watching more Instagram lives right now necessarily than engaging with the content on the feed. So things are really shifting. It's portable, it's on the go. Instagram also has included that replay feature. So before, if they weren't on live with you now, they couldn't see your stream. But now they have that 24-hour replay feature, which is allowing your content to breathe more life, right? And you're able to download and repurpose that content maybe on your blog, like I said, with those session notes that you can then use to, help the search engines find that content. So good point. It's all about balance, I think.
And that kind of goes in the conversations, because the way I see it is you want to have a setup of, firstly, you're talking about upcycling, really. Audio here, recycle it into an infograph and all the rest. Yeah, the problem with that is it takes a team, Brandi. It takes a team. But also, I think a tripod with camera, maybe 2 other tripods, or like an extender or something, and then you want one iPhone, I'm not sure which model, for Instagram, another one for Snapchat, another one for Facebook Live, another one for YouTube Live. So we're going live on all four platforms at the same time, and then integrate those platforms into the team. because you want one platform that is like the main headquarters, so to speak.
Yes.
And all the different social medias like embassies to reach out.
I call it syndication, right? You're syndicating. These are like different channels.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And and also, I've got a desk here, a little mini tripod, just here, with a camera. I'm not sure which one again, or an iPhone, because that one is for spontaneous moments where you're in the middle of something and you start ranting or talking about something. Just turn it on, Bluetooth thing or whatever, just activate it, record and talk. And that is in the moment, genuine, behind the scenes kind of stuff. Very spontaneous. And also, if possible, live broadcast as well. Or maybe multiple ones, like on the desk and the different offices. So in the middle of something, you just talk.
Yes, yes.
That.
Think about the world we're in now. What is the hottest thing on TV? Don't you mess this up. No. Reality TV.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah.
People want to see it. They want to see the behind the scenes. They want to know they want to know what it took to get there. So I totally agree with you. People are eating up content, and we kind of need to broaden our view of what content is. Sometimes it's making people giggle with a meme. Sometimes it's inspiring somebody on a bad day. Sometimes it's teaching somebody how to do something. Some days it's telling somebody, that person over there who said that they made $1 million in a week is BSing you and don't believe that stuff. You know, sometimes it is saying, hey, here's a great resource. It's not that hard to set up your list. Just go read this, right? So content is going to take a lot of forms. And I think at this point in the world, business is not some stuffy thing that it used to be, right? You don't have to put on a suit and tie every day and take staged headshot pictures, you know? Some days I'll take a selfie, and that is the image that I'm using to share some value with my customers. So step into this social media thing and this content thing. Really make it your own. And by making it your own, that's really how you're going to stand out from other people, right? Gary Vee is not some stuffy guy. He is the bomb because he is some no-nonsense person who doesn't give a bleep about what people think about him, and he's going to tell you how it is, love it or not, right? He's not trying to fit into these molds and do what other people do. And if we learn anything from the big boys, it's to be yourself. Oprah is Oprah. Who is like Oprah? Nobody.
Oh, yeah.
Who is like Adrian? Nobody.
No. In my book, I talk about how there's enough Bill Gates, there's enough Steve Jobs, there's enough Mark Zuckerbergs in the world. Absolutely. The world is waiting for its first Brandi Spencer. That's
right. Absolutely.
That's all it needs. Don't need no more. Just need one. That's it. They're waiting for the first you as well at home.
Absolutely. And it doesn't require, like, I'm a web designer, but it doesn't require fancy websites to be you. It doesn't require all this other stuff that I think that sometimes, especially starting out, we use to hide. Like, oh, I don't have that together, so I can't press the live but the broadcast button. Like, that's not true. You don't need all of that stuff. And you're probably delaying your success by adding all that extra junk in your way. You need a voice, you need a camera, and you may need like a computer to type some stuff and then save it to PDF and then sell it. Like all that other stuff, you don't really need, you know?
No, it's just lean starter for social media, so to speak. And in fact, with regards to the website, a little hack is buy the domain, buy the .com and .uk domain, and maybe a few of the alternative spellings, and then forward them all to your social media, Facebook or YouTube. And you say you got the .com domain, have all the .co.uk or .org or whatever forward to .com, and the .com simply forwards to the social media, say YouTube platform, for example. Very lean startup, and then over time build the domain and build the website properly.
I know a lot of people who have done that exact same thing. They've used their domain and they've redirected it maybe to a Facebook group. And I know some people say Facebook groups are dead, but community is not dead. So it doesn't matter if you're on Facebook or if you're on, what's some old platform? Black Planet here in the US, or I don't know what some other old, it doesn't matter. MySpace, thank you. What matters is that you're bringing a group of people together with a similar interest or demographic or characteristics, and you are providing some type of value for them there that's establishing you as somebody who knows your stuff. Boom, right? Just bring people together. Bring people together. Provide value.
Yeah, I haven't heard that before. This Facebook groups are dead. I wouldn't have thought so.
I've heard a lot of people saying that. Like, don't even waste your time starting a Facebook group. I started a WhatsApp group. You know, I don't know if you have that where you are. WhatsApp, simple group. And allowed people to join. And one weekend, I just delivered content about planning. I was able to get customers from that group. I was able to build relationships. And now those same people, they ask me questions directly on my Instagram. They've purchased from me. They've worked with me. But it wasn't because there's magic in a Facebook group, or it was because it was high touch, right? I was talking to them directly, asking them, did that work for you? Do you have any questions, Adrian? So it was a small, intimate group that was high touch. I was able to provide very specific value and then convert them into something else. It wasn't $1 million product or service. It wasn't even, I think it was under $40. But now those people are tagged as buyers in my community. And now I know that these people are serious about investing in growing their business in some way. And they know that I can help them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. WhatsApp group. I hadn't quite thought about that. I am part of one, but it's an investors group. But it's not quite the same as a marketing group or anything like that. It's just sharing ideas and bouncing ideas across. But yeah, interesting concept. I thought not thought of that.
And I will say to you, Adrian, I did not think of this idea, but I am a observer of people and things. So one thing that I typically do is I go outside of the marketing and website industry and I look at other types of businesses. So there was actually someone who sold human hair. She was a human hair vendor, and she created this group to teach other people how to start their own hair business. Okay. I don't sell hair, but I was like, that's a good idea. So I joined the group, right? But I joined the group as an observer, looking at the processes. How did she deliver the content? How did she manage the group and the people? How did she monetize that group for that weekend, right? So I'm looking at it from a different vantage point. And so when you start to look at things and outside of your industry from that vantage point, like how can I extract or pull some of that information to make my business better, then there's ideas everywhere, right?
Yeah, there's ideas everywhere. What's common and taken for granted in one industry, when extrapolated or reverse engineered, applied in yours, can change the entire level, change the entire value proposition. Like, yeah, it's crazy.
Absolutely,
crazy.
Absolutely.
And going back a little bit, you said, reality TV is the number one. I agree with you. And this little principle that I go off is show them the factory. Show the people the factory, not just behind the scenes, like here's the office and all the rest, but the factory, the pipeline, everything. Mm-hmm. And the way I see that is the content marketing is all about reciprocity and that law of, giving more into the world and give without the expectation of getting anything back. And this will come back to you in droves at a later date.
Absolutely.
Over time or compounded or things like that. It's amazing stuff. But as we slowly wrap up this podcast, gently, of course, what is you working on now and what's next for you?
So right now I am really focusing on helping my community get ready for the sales holiday. So I'm having no excuses November, all this month. And we're going to be looking at things like creating products for the holidays, really planning for a profitable new year, but then also helping businesses realize what systems are missing in their business and starting to put them in place for the beginning of 2018. So that is the major push going on right now. I'm going to be winding things down for a little bit for about a week in December. But then I'll be back in business, really helping people get clear about how they're going to meet their new income goals for 2018 and how they can get clear, get seen, and then get paid.
Be clear, seen,
get seen, and paid.
Interesting. I like that.
Right.
That's cool.
If you're not clear, you can't do the other two, right? You need all three.
Yes, I agree. Interesting. And there's no excuse November. That sounds pretty cool. That is.
No excuses. This is it, right?
Yeah, no, November. It's not even members are allowed in November, so it makes sense.
That's right.
Based on what you just said just then, how do you go about creating products just for Xmas, for Christmas? Because that got me thinking about my own accountability and what I've got my plans, all the rest. So please elaborate on that in preparation.
First of all, you probably have lots of content that's laying around. I know for me, I'm a creator, so sometimes I'll create something, I'll do nothing with it. I'm going to get away from that next year, but just real talk, being honest. But first of all, over the course of this year, you've probably had people ask you the same questions over and over and over and over again. So that would probably be a great holiday product. That could be something like an ebook, maybe a video, an audio series. That could be bundling together some things that you already have to meet one specific need that your ideal customers have. Or that could be joining forces with another business to come up with some type of amazing gift or bundle or package for your community. So it doesn't have to take a lot of work or effort. Like I said, you probably already have it there, but really getting clear and understanding that there's a lot of year left. And if you've fallen short in the other 3 quarters, you can really make up for lost time in this 4th quarter. I think the number was about 35 billion or 3.5 billion on Cyber Monday alone that was spent. So like, if you can't grab a little chunk of that and recoup, some revenue for this year, then you're really missing out. You look like I need to look up that figure, Adrian. I'll look it up.
That's all right. It's a couple of billion at the very least.
Yes, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Funny you should say some of those things, actually, winding down and refocusing. Yes. The book that I'm about to publish, Attention Avalanche, 3 steps to endlessly create content to engage, convert, and inspire more customers. And I want to release that on 23rd of November, just in time for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. That's right. Just in time.
People know that they're going to spend money on that day. So why not have your stuff there and available, right? And
the book's finished. I'm creating some content for it. I'm extrapolating the conversations and talking about it. I'm in the middle of recording all those. I'll drip feed them every day until they're all finished. And then move on to other things and winding down. Yeah, I need to refocus myself. Once that book is finished, I want to wind down and refocus my energy and efforts onto different things and just start grinding it out.
Absolutely.
In the podcast, the videos, just much more paced out. I want to start investing elsewhere with this company that I'm setting up with the holdings company and doing a little thing very similar to teaching as well of my own, which I'll work for the majority of the time just to grind it out and to grow and compound elsewhere. So winding down, because as a side note, one mistake that I realized I made big time in 2016 especially, and the first 2 quarters of this year as well, is I was not focused. I was all over the place. 2016, I was doing so many things. I was writing my first book. I was starting to get into property investing. I was trying to go into the MLM little business, and I had 2 businesses on the go as well. One of them flopped like more or less instantly, and the other one is still ongoing. And it's like just doing too many things, and it's like I need to focus it down. And now the way I see it is that I will not work on something unless it passes what I call a hell yeah test, where the enthusiasm, the desire to do it has to be at least a hell yeah. If it's anything less, like yeah, okay, or that's a good idea, or yes, I will do that, then it's not enthusiastic enough.
I like that.
Not a high enough standard for my time. Therefore, I won't do it.
Yeah. That's right. And I think at some point in your business, in the very beginning, you're doing everything. You are everything, right? But at some point, you have to realize also, as the CEO of your company, you can't be doing $10 tasks. You need to be like hovering in where the money is, right?
Yeah. Funny you should say that as well, because I have another guest on the podcast actually, talking with that person about some virtual assistants, and to have our ideas for like a quasi publishing company and creating these small little books that can be sold for like $1 gross on Amazon. And I got two main principles when it comes to business and money making. Is one, access, not ownership, which means I'll access the platform. Like, for example, this podcast, I'll access YouTube's hosting and website, the domain, and the search algorithm and SEO and all the rest to profit from it in one way or another, directly or indirectly. So I'm accessing it without owning it, without being liable or responsible for the infrastructure, the wages, utilities, etc. The other one, to go hand in hand with that, is do the work once and get paid forever. So I'll record this podcast, I'll have the virtual assistant create these little things, I'll publish them once on the platform on Amazon, do it once, and because it's evergreen, set in a certain way, it's going to get paid forever.
That's right.
So that's the way I see it. So funny you should mention that with assistants and the little small things, yeah.
At some point, you're like, look, I need some help, and there's only so many hours in the day. You know, I know it's scary to hire out because you're like, okay, I'm at the point now where I need to do as much work as possible to keep as much revenue as possible, but there's only so many hours in the day. The quality of your work's probably going to suffer at some point because you're exhausted. And the only way to break through is to find some way to duplicate yourself or what you do and what you know, right? So at some point you tap out and you have to look for other people, or like I said, another way to duplicate yourself, either through automation like you're talking about, or getting help, or finding some way to make some money without effort, right? Without any additional effort.
Yeah. There's a lot, yes, with the virtual assistants and beyond. The way I see it is there's opportunity everywhere. I've been saying this for at least a year and a half now. There's opportunity everywhere. It's all just down to your resourcefulness and how you can put two and two together. I think, I got the Zoom, Skype, headset, YouTube, podcast, for example. Just resourcefulness. It's all available to us. All these things are open to us. People could start your business and my business very easily. But what I call the paradox of perceived competition, they think it's too hard, so everyone goes and does something else. And because everyone does it, it drives up the competition. Therefore, paradoxically, it's the harder choice.
Absolutely.
It's an interesting world as well we live in.
And a lot of these resources are free.
Yes. Silicon Valley has invested billions to make.
And the platform, like you just said, the platform is there. Press the button and get started, and stop crying and yapping about you want to start a business. Like, sorry, I'm sick of it.
That's all right. Although yapping, whereabouts in the States are you?
I am in Texas. Can you tell?
Yeah, I thought so.
I had a student tell me that I sounded like a cowgirl. She's like, you sound like a cowgirl. And I'm like, do I? So yes, I'm in right outside of Houston, Texas. Go Astros. And hey, that's where I am.
Just before we end the podcast though, West Houston or whereabouts?
I'm in North Houston.
Oh, okay. Because I was watching this video earlier today, talking about like just being curious and learning loads of things. I was watching a video about traffic, boringly enough, and there was this is really 26-mile long highway, West Houston. That's like 28 lanes long or something, or wide. It's like horrendous traffic, like an hour or something to get through it. That sounds familiar at all?
Traffic is horrible, absolutely. To get from one side of Houston to the other during rush hour could take 3 hours. If it's an accident, forget it. Like, you may have to spend the night on the freeway or something, like, who knows? But traffic is horrible.
Wow, okay.
No exaggeration. It was.
Yeah. As a side note, that's why I like to work from home, because I don't have to bother with traffic.
Exactly.
But I like driving.
I had to push myself out of the house because I work on the computer, but the traffic's bad enough to keep you in the house. Absolutely. Yeah,
but however, I like driving, but not during rush hour, because what could be a 10-minute journey could be an hour, and it's like, oh, forget that. No, forget that. Yeah. But that's a conversation another time. But anyway, Brandi, What is next for you as we wrap up this podcast? What is next for you personally?
Next for me personally, it's a new year. In 2018, I'm going to get a little balance in my life. And that's probably going to come from hiring more team members. And I'm just going to continue to provide as much value, work with as many people as possible. I once again appreciate you for inviting me on your podcast. I'm going to be really focusing on more opportunities like this so that I can leverage other people's communities and meet new people. And at some point, that's going to be the name of the game for many of you who are watching today. It's going to come to a point where it's just about scaling and getting in front of more people and having more people hear about your message so that you can, hit the goals that you've set for you and your business. So that's what's next for me.
Yeah, one quick analogy when it comes to meeting people is two. One thing what I call the Oprah Winfrey effect, which is, what is Oprah Winfrey famous for? She's famous because she's Oprah Winfrey. A circular logic, really. She's only famous because she has had loads of other famous people on her show, and she's interviewed them for 10, 20 minutes, half an hour, things like that. Mm-hmm. So eventually, through like success begets success, people then perceive it as, Oprah Winfrey show is the place to be to become famous, because that's where all the famous people have been. So that's why I think meeting people and networking is a good way, because they all know you and you're well connected. And
Absolutely.
it's not who you know. No, I'll rephrase that. It's not what you know. It's not who you know. It's who knows you. Oh, I know a guy. Oh, I know a guy. You need this guy. So
it's funny you said that. My uncle said the question is not who do you know? The question is, who do I need to know that you know? Like, get it, like, hook it up. Who do I need to know that you know? Exactly. I agree.
Yeah, and another one, which is, imagine a bathtub, for example, or a swimming pool with water in it, of course. And you've got this little like syringe of like dye, blue or black or green or whatever. And you just insert a little ink over here, a little ink over there, other corner over there. And what's the ink going to do? It's going to diffuse. And that ink is people who know you. And if you just do loads of interview, for example, on a podcast, or do loads of content, people in the world are going to discover you gently. And that ink is going to diffuse, just injecting more over here, over there, over here. A lot of the people on this podcast, I just messaged randomly on Instagram. Want to come on the show? Yeah, sure. Logistics, blah, blah, here we are. And then recently I was having a phone call with someone in Canada about this book cover. And then she's like, oh, Adrian, I want to talk about this, ring me. And I'm like, a Canadian number, like, hello, and all the rest. And it's like, yeah, doing a book cover, more professional. And it's like, that was a direct cause and effect result of having a previous guest. And that was just a case of just messaging people randomly who were entrepreneurial in the hashtag and all the rest. And that was because of the initiative. Everything is cause and effect, which is crazy. Absolutely
action.
Crazy.
It's about action. Like, send the email. If they don't answer, so if you send out 200, one person is going to respond to you. I bet. Like, do it.
Yeah. As a quick side note, as we wrap up, when I started this podcast, I messaged like 100 people, or 200 or so people over the course of like Twitter and Instagram. And I messaged like 2 people on Facebook. And the first one I messaged on Facebook was straight away, yeah, sure, I'll come on the show. And it's like, what? All those people, and this is it, and that was it. And it's like, that's episode 1. And it's like, oh, cool. How cool is that?
And this is episode what?
68.
68. Action. Take action, guys. It's not that hard.
No. And I find that even though it's embarrassing, 10 minutes later, 10 seconds later, they've forgot all about you. They don't care. Everyone's got their own problems. Everyone's got their own priorities and stuff. And we're all weird. Who cares? They forget about it. So what? But yeah.
Absolutely. Well, this has been lovely. I'm glad that we connected. So
yeah. So what's the best way for the audience to get in touch with you?
My website is thepossibilityagency.com. That's thepossibilityagency.com. I use a Linktr.ee where you can find all of my goodies, a lot of my freebies, and that's Linktr.com. No, it's kind of funny. It's Linktr.ee/Brandi the Boss. That is my Linktree account.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Okay.
Possibility Agency and Linktree/Brandi the Boss.
Cool. I'll have to include those in the show notes below, and they will be there. Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you,
So,
sir.
yeah, Brandi, it was great talking to you. Absolutely great.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. I would love to have you on my podcast when I finally launch. And this has been terrific. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to me share my thoughts on business. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks a lot. So, ladies and gentlemen at home, if you haven't already, click on the subscribe button below and press the bell notification right next to it if you're on YouTube. However, for the latest uploads, that is. However, remember that this channel is all about helping you become a remarkable entrepreneur. So go out there today and do something remarkable with your life. You see, because that is what life is all about. How cool is that?
Awesome.
Very awesome.